Hey guys, welcome back to Keeping Up with Brits Dynasty Season 3, Episode 14. The Wicked Stepmother is out, and I don't know who the Wicked Stepmother is, whether it's Fallon or whether it's Cristal, because both of them did some very dirty deeds this episode. I read this episode into 4 sections. Cristal attempts murder, Blake's betrayal, Dominique's shenanigans, and Fallon, Liam, and his son. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and also comment down below and tell me what you think. So let's get into it. The first one we're gonna look into is Cristal attempts murder. So if you haven't watched episode 13 as yet, you can go to my previous video, which episode 13, to tell you what happened. So basically, in the last episode, we saw Cristal making a deal, obviously with a hitman with one person on her list, which is Alexis Carrington, or should I say Alexis Kobe. Now, in this episode, we see that she gonna make the final, details with him as to where she's going to be and stuff like that. And she tells him that there's one thing Dominique knows about him, and she saw his face. No, that's a no-no for him. He's like, it just takes her to open her mouth, and then when after Alexis dies, he can go to prison or something like that. And he's not in for it. So that leaves Cristal into calling a backup plan to put the bomb under the car, which the previous hitman actually left on the table when he was leaving. Now, Cristal's backup, when she goes to pick him up, he's like trying to talk her out of it, because it seems either it's her brother or her cousin, and they're trying to talk her out of trying to blow up Alexis. But she ain't having it. She just saying like, I lost too much to this woman and she needs to pay, and that's what she's going to do. She's going to make her pay. Now at the party, she recognizes that Alexis isn't there, and she asks Blake. And Blake says that he actually told her not to come because he would sell out all her business. You understand? About how she shot her ex-husband and boyfriend and everything like that. So she decides to go to Alex's house and invite her to the engagement party so that she will get killed. So she's basically inviting her to her own death. Right? I know, right? Anyways, she decides to come, and when she sees her enter, she tells the backup hitman all the information, like the type of car she drives. Now when he goes to the parking lot, he sees 2 cars and he's confused. He tries to ask her for the license plate number, but she's busy talking with all her peoples at the back of her. And then he just decides to choose a car and put the bomb, and later he can switch it. And that's what he does. But when he watched, he actually put it on the wrong vehicle, and at that time Alex was actually making her way downstairs. So he's trying to detach it to reattach it to the right car, and it ended up blowing up, and he was next to the car while he was trying to take it out, and yeah, he got injured. She, which is Cristal, after everybody around downstairs actually think he's dead, but he's not, and we see him in the hospital getting better, and he says to her to tell Blake thank you for putting him in the hotel, but she's in the hospital room, but she's like, Blake doesn't know because Blake already had left and gone home. So we'll see what happens when Blake actually finds out. So let's see about Blake's betrayal. So we see that Blake calls Adam to his office to talk to him, and it seems like he wants to make amends for all what he has done in the past. But it's not what you think it is. He actually is just trying to blackmail Adam into doing something for him and giving him a little petty thing on his side, you understand? So he tells him that he's sorry for threatening him and throwing him out of his mother's place and stuff like that, and throwing him out of the manor even further, and that if he can get the blackmail information that Alexis and Jeff has, so that he could hold it and he could get back Atlantics, then he could come back into the manor, and also he wouldn't have to bring his name into any of the business stuff, so he can, lose as well. At first, Adam was like, no. But then he was like, okay, I'll do it. And he ends up going to Jeff's office and get the information, but his mother bunks up with him. But he plays it off nicely. He takes the fast drive with what his mother's saying, And he tells her, makes a whole fight scenario to, throw off, say about how she doesn't trust him, even though all what he done for them and everything like that. No. He goes to Fallon's and Liam's engagement party, and he's going to give the flash drive to Blake, but he asks Blake in return to make him have a seat on the board as the doctor, because that's the only way he'll be able to practice medicine without having to, go through all the paying bribes and shit. So he agrees. He gives him the document, the little paper and stuff, and Blake feels like he has everything in the bag. So he's like posting to Jeff and Alexis, and they're like, did you even listen to the tape? And how the tape doesn't contain nothing, information and everything like that, and how they played him and stuff, and Adam is like how he spoke to Jeff and his mother one time, and he's gonna mess up the good thing they have going, and how he betrayed him and stuff. And Blake rushes home to listen to the tape, only to see it's for the first 5 minutes he had listened to the tape, so he thought it was good. So he finally listened to the rest of the tape and see that it actually a video of Adam confessing that Blake, was the one who asked him to poison Jeff, giving him neurotoxicity, which he's sick and dying from. So he can't use the tape because it incriminates himself if he does. So that's where Blake is left off. And while he's mad as hell that he actually doesn't have the information he needs to buy back Atlantic, which he is desperate for, we see that Adam, Alexis, and Jeff are actually celebrating their win over Blake for what seems like a long time coming. On to other things, we have Dominique's shenanigans. So we know that Dominique followed Alexis to the hotel, not Alexis, but Cristal, to the hotel, and she saw with the man. She assumes it's an affair and she approaches her about it. Which she asks her if she has an audio. She says no, so that's good. She can actually lie. And she says it's an affair. She was ending it that day and don't tell Blake. And all Dominique wants is simple. Her to welcome Vanessa with open arms into the manor. Because remember, she needs Vanessa in the manor so that she could have a TV show. You understand? And she says, yeah, fine, go ahead. We see that she's also using the little sex, shenanigans she and Colin had to blackmail him, basically telling Vanessa that he said he would talk to Fallon about getting her into her streaming company, as well as he does get that done, but he also gets her to end up singing at Fallon's engagement party, which is good. Now, Dominique, pushing power couple, Colin and Vanessa and stuff like that, doesn't play for her in her favor, because the TV personnel says that there's no drama here, and drama that sells and give ratings, so I can't give you no TV show. So she was like, wait, what? And she have drama in her pocket because she has that sex tape. So guess what she does? My girl goes in the gutter and she decides, yeah, it is what it is. She sends it to a news station and it blows up, and everybody at the party ends up finding out. So obviously Vanessa confronts her mother and she confronts Colin, and they have it out, and the video goes viral. She goes viral, and she's told by the TV personnel, that is what I'm talking about. We can finally have a show. To which she tells the lady, I have multiple deals now, so get in line. Excuse me? Yes, the girl did it. No, she later goes to Vanessa's house and tells Vanessa that everything she did was because she promised her that they would have fame, and that's what she's going to do. And the show that they always dreamed of, the House of Deborah, is actually in progress. And for a second, I thought Vanessa would be like, really? You sleep with my boyfriend and everything for a show? But then she was like, okay, it's on, let's do this. I was like, okay, girl, I see you. So we just starting to get to see who Vanessa really is. And last but not least, we have Fallon, Liam, and his son. So Fallon is planning the engagement party, and she basically has the GoPro Sam. If you don't know what GoPro is, comment in the section down below and I will let you know. It's a term we use in the Caribbean and in my country, so yeah. And basically, he kind of sad and everything, going for his go well. And she now is, her mother end up finding out that she's engaged and decides that she wants to help with the party and everything of that nature. Now, when she was talking to her mother, she was saying that, things between she and Liam dies, and her mother was like, oh, because he's engaged to him and you're going to be his wife, he cool out because he's like you there forever and stuff like that. So she decides to spice things up. I don't know who tells her to listen to her mother. Your mother can't even keep a marriage, girl. She can't even keep her children together. Anyways. Yeah, she listens to her uncle and decides to get some lingerie and candles and make the room all sexy for Liam when he comes home. And when Liam does come home, he sees her in lingerie only to see he walks in with a woman. Though she thought it was going to be a threesome, hell, when she finds out he's like baby mama from high school, she's like, I didn't expect that, but okay. And then they introduce his son, who sees her in a lingerie and she's terrified. That lingerie, she says she's going to incinerate. That's what she told him. But anyways, they talk and she understands that he has to spend time with his son and everything like that, and she understands the situation and stuff. Even though she's kind of jealous of the fact that he actually is giving more attention to his son right now than he is to her. And she actually ends up telling her mother and Sam about the little boy. And they're like, you're not going to be number one anymore because he's going to have other priorities, and if you don't like you, you're going to choose his son over you and stuff like that. And she's like, no, that's not going to happen. And then she also have a date night with Liam that night, and he comes downstairs and says it cancelled because his 10-year-old son's mother hasn't come back from an interview yet. And I'm in my head thinking, like, what if the girl just leave the little boy for them? That would be funny, right? I know. But anyways, Fallon is kind of like, okay, maybe her mother and them are right. So she decides to have a game night, all three of them, and she buys 2 trolleys of toys for them to play with and everything. Even though his mother does come home though, and she realizes the son has a very smart mouth. But it is what it is. Eventually, though, at the party, she sees his mother and Liam's 10-year-old son come, and she tries to hook up his mother with a gig, a job, I should say, outside of Atlanta, so that she wouldn't have to stay with them, and the son could be further away from Liam, which Liam confronts her about, and then she feels sad. And at the same time, she sees her mother and tells her mother to go back home because she should not take her advice and how she's a bad advice giver and she couldn't keep her family together, blah, blah, blah. By which Sam gives her advice and says, from a boy who was raised with his father, that it's important that Liam's 10-year-old son has him in his life. And she agrees and she says he's right. And she decides to go and apologize to Liam, who she sits on the step. And they have a little heart to heart, and Liam ends up confessing that he's not really comfortable with his son being around and that he doesn't know how to be a good dad to him since he never had a good dad himself. So they both agree like, oh, I didn't want kids in the first place, and they both agree that they don't want him around. Only to have him sitting outside their door when they go upstairs and saying his mother told him to wait for them. They see a note and read it, and apparently his mother has left, saying that he now will have a stable home and they could do a much better job in raising him than she has, and how much she has missed out on so many things in her life. And I'm thinking, like, you were supposed to give him up for adoption in the first place. I understand your heart was in the right place, wanted to keep your son, but girl, what have you done? But I guess we'll find out. Anyways, thanks for listening, watching, whatever, and I will definitely see you next week.